Cool. Maria, não vou querer Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable President, the Becker Minister of State, Rodolfo Becker, Member of Parliament of Federal Republic of Czechia, His Excellency Ambassador Sahanu, distinguished delegates, friends, on behalf of Somali National Alliance, SNA, and my own behalf, it is great honor and distinct privilege for me to welcome you to Somalia. We are very much pleased and gratified that you are here. The first president have had the opportunity to visit Somalia, to visit us, with us, in the critical moment in our history. We attach a great deal of importance to your presence among us here today, for there is a necessary reserve of goodwill in Somalia for Uganda. We are very much conscious of the fact that your country welcomed heartfelt hospitality. I am sure that you are aware of the affection the Somali people have for the Ugandan people, and I believe that the feeling is mutual. We would like to claim for the excellent progress did by Uganda under your guidance and wise leadership. At personal level, I have a good memory of my colleague, the Ugandan ambassador to India, with whom I had the privilege of being friendly, whereby I served as a Somali ambassador to India in the 1980s. Your arrival in Somalia at this time is significant. In other respects, our country is passing through a difficult period. There is a political division. There is a political division, and there is no central government. The economy of the country has totally collapsed, and the social infrastructure destroyed in the civil strife. As the direct result of these problems, hunger, starvation, and general lawlessness are rampant in the country. The outside world has suddenly awakened to Somali crisis and is very much confused about the root causes and the nature of the crisis. The problem is, however, that the situation so as to grasp the real cause of the problem. Yet they are only too eager to offer solutions. Some of them wanting to impose on us their so-called solutions through many of these outsiders offering solutions are sincere but mistaken. For instance, we owe this to the international community, and we owe it to the next generation. Second, it is a question of morality and of a justice, power of the state, and military coup, the state. Siad Barre created a communist police state with all its instruments of repression, torture, and death. In the next 20 years, these problems at the Somali Congress, USC, which I have had the privilege to serve as its chairman since June 1, 1990, has played a leading role in the subsequent revolutionary struggle that deposed the despotic regime. In so doing, USC did not act as an angry mob or parochial outlift, but it has been from the start a revolutionary movement with transparent national policy and political platform. The regime of Siad Barre, by force of arms in response to his rejection of democratic reforms and to his often repeated position that he had since 1990. And while we were in the hot pursuit, the Manifesto Sulh clique occupied all the key installation of Mogadishu with the hurriedly gathered militia and announced to the world the formation of an interim government with Ali Mahdi as the head and Omar Abd Talib as the prime minister. Interestingly enough, the members of the so-called government were the same as those who had served under Siad Barre, with the exception of Ali Mahdi. At this stage, USC was faced with a dilemma whether to evict the Manifesto Sulh clique by means of force and risk the return of Siad Barre, who was not very far from the capital, or whether to stand aside and try to resolve the unexpected crisis by peaceful means. We choose the later option. The immediate effect on the country of these illegal actions by the Manifesto Sulh clique was destructive. The entire leadership of USC was torn apart by its obligation to save the country from these predators and its desire to avoid violence, especially in the capital city. Thus, the freedom fighters in the movement became deeply depressed to sit idly by and watch helplessly the city they had just liberated, run by some deposed government in different uniforms. By crippling the USC, the Manifesto Sulh clique helped Siad Barre remain in the country and thus put the country in the anomalous situation of having the deposit ruler control 1/3 of the Somalia, where he was able to launch offensive attacks to recapture Mogadishu. Similarly, the clique's action prompted to SNM in the north to declare northern Somalia independent from the rest of the country. With the support of some foreign powers, the clique concocted the infamous Djibouti Conference, which was organized to legitimize the illegitimate attempt to usurp power by the Manifesto Sulh clique. The so-called Djibouti Accords failed when the fraud was exposed and the most of the signatories refused to abide by them. At this point, the Manifesto Sulh clique decided to resort the violence intended to root out the liberation movement altogether. Thus, it organized attacks on both USC and SBN in separate engagements. But USC was able to bounce back from all this and repulsed the attacks by the clique, limiting it to a small areas in Mogadishu. USC was also able to organize a coalition of 4 movements in finally remove Siad Barre and his forces from the country. These 4 movements, USC, SBM, Somali Democratic Movement, SDM and the Somali National Movement, SSNM, have recently held a conference at which they formed an umbrella alliance, the Somali National Alliance, SNA. The alliance established institutions that will perform functions of government in the 11 regions controlled by the SNA. In terms of the priority set by the alliance, SNA will concentrate on restoring public order so that the humanitarian assistance can safely reach the needy. This program requires that SNA recall and reactivate the former Somali police force. Another priority for SNA is the rehabilitation of the public facilities and resumption of the provision of public services, such as water supply, garbage collection, health area care, schooling, and communications. Finally, the alliance will promote peace and harmony among the Somali community throughout the country. SNA, in its search for peace and the national reconciliation, have already established contacts and entered dialogue with other movements to organize together a national conference in Somalia, which would form a broad-based interim government for all of Somalia. In this reconciliation campaign, SNA is committed to traveling to every part of the country and to meeting every movement with exception of Manifesto Suluh Clip, which is neither a movement nor a government. There are, of course, many well-meaning people who have been misled by the clique. The SNA intend to win back the vast majority of these people by facilitating their return to the movement. Negotiations to this and end are already underway. As to the fate of the clique, a special prosecutor is investigating. It is a thank you.
Your Excellency, Caydiid, Your Excellency, Ambassador Salmoon, and all of you dignitaries who are here. I have listened with great interest to the speech of General Caydiid. And the speech has been a mine of information, because I do not know much about the recent history of Somalia. I know a little bit. I used to know the Somali Youth League in the past, and I knew a little bit about the pre-Siad Barre politics of Somalia, people like Muhammad Egal and the others, then Siad Barre. I also know a little bit about the history of Somalia when the Europeans were establishing colonialism here. There was a Somali man who was nicknamed by the British the Mad Mullah. I've forgotten his name. Yes, that man resisted the British for 23 years. So I have come here to learn, first of all, because I have been hearing that for the last 2 years, Somalis have been killing one another. There is mass starvation. There is a total breakdown of law and order, as General Caydiid has confirmed in his speech. There is total collapse of the economy, as he has said in his speech. And I've also heard it from the international media. Then I started saying to myself, how could we help our brothers? With ideas. With ideas. Drawing from our own experience, the experience of Uganda. Because Uganda is rich in trouble. We have had all sorts of problems. The special ambassador here may not know that between 1970 and 1986, Uganda lost 800,000 people, 0.8 of a million people killed. 0.8 of a million people killed. I myself, who is standing here, I fought the dictatorships in our country for a total of 13 years. Idi Amin, 8 years, fighting Milton about 5 years. So we have got the Ugandan experience of fighting for freedom and managing a very complicated political landscape, which is so politically fragmented that outsiders did not think that we would ever put it together. So my purpose of coming here is first of all to express, to show concern and sympathy for our people in Somalia who are in this situation which they are. But secondly, to pass on our own experience. Our experience, not Somali experience, because we don't know much about it, but our. So I am coming here as a sick man who is recovering. Uganda is a sick man who is now recovering. Now, when you hear that there is another sick relative, we go there to tell him that, you know, I was sick, I took this herb, this drug, this chemical, and I am now walking. I am improving. I'm not yet completely cured, but I am improving. So I have come to whisper to the leaders here, the medicine which we took in Uganda, and which has brought some recovery of some sort. Uganda, which lost 800,000 people, killed for political reasons, not for disease, not for just dead because of politics. Uganda, which by 1986 was number 4 in the whole world in the export of refugees. Were number 4 in the whole world in the export of refugees. The first one was Afghanistan, then there was Cambodia, then there was Ethiopia. Uganda was number 4. Now, as I'm speaking, all the refugees have come back to Uganda. 500,000 of them, they are back in Uganda. From Sudan, from Zaire. The economy of Uganda is growing at a rate of 6% per annum. It's one of the highest rates of growth in Africa today. So I think my main purpose of coming here is to mention this medicine, which we took in Uganda. This is my purpose of coming here. So, and so you can see whether you can learn anything, you can gain anything from our own experience. Thank you very much.
Can I ask the press now please to leave?